Hello and welcome to Revue. We're back again this week. Now, there isn't much going on in the world of football as club football has been interrupted by an international break. Now, while this break comes at the right time for some, it adds to the problems of some club managers, like always. And whenever an international break is around, there is always debate on what should come first, or whether international football should get the nod or priority over club football, or whether club football should get as much importance as it does. But while this debate goes on, I've recently heard a very acceptable view on this, which was by Kenny Dalglish, and he believes that club should come first in developing youth players, and it should come first in players' careers. So I'm going to talk to Craig and Kieran about this, the experts, and let's hear their views on this. Starting with you, Craig.
Yeah, I do believe that a club performance does make a player's career, but I do believe that all the fame and glory can be found in the World Cup, so it's a bit of a mix. I mean, you can't be considered a truly great player until you perform highly at both levels, so it's a hard one for players and for coaches, but I can understand the problems that it causes. There just needs better management, in my opinion, rather than having in the international period and in 2 or 3 games in another international period, we should, say, okay, this month is for internationals and this month is for internationals, and then the rest can be for clubs.
Yeah, you talked about rescheduling the international calendar a bit, which is a valid point, and a lot has been said on it. Okay, now, Kieran, some people believe that managers at the youth level for the national setup aren't as good as the managers at clubs, and they believe that if youth players are let too much into the youth setup of the national team, they sort of get confused with what they're told at the club and what they're told at the national setup. So in that regard, some people believe that youth development should solely be left to the clubs and not to the national level. Do you endorse this view?
I think it comes down to which club you play for. It'll be quite different as a youth player if you're, for example, growing up in maybe a country like Africa. Maybe the youth level there at your club, the development there isn't so good, but at national level, it's an opportunity. Whereas if you're in a big club like Barcelona, Madrid, Arsenal, Manchester United, someone like that, we're going to have obviously the best youth managers around. That's obviously going to be a huge benefit for them. So I guess it sort of depends. I think it'd be difficult to argue which one's really better for the youngsters.
But it's the club actually pays the wages for the players. Do you think when you look at the pecking order, the club comes second and the national setup comes first? Do you think that's a bit unfair for the clubs? Because usually a recent incident is Robin van Persie getting injured last night, and he's going to return to Man United. He was in fine form for the Manchester club, but now he's going to return injured. Well, not really a serious injury. He's going to be back soon. But do you think that's a bit of loss for the club?
It's not in a way, because don't forget the clubs still get paid money for their players to go play internationals. People forget this. I think Real Madrid and Bayern Munich made €3 million just from Euro 2012 tournament alone. So you can't really, injuries are going to happen no matter what, whether they happen at the international stage or not. But clubs do get compensated. People forget that.
Clubs are always going to be upset with losing their assets. It's just business, They're paying money for these players. They're paying good money for them. They're not going to want them going elsewhere and playing for somebody else.
Well, this is why internationals are enforced, though. This is why you have to go to internationals. If it wasn't, then the clubs would never let the players go. I think international, you can't just cut international matches. I think it just needs to be organised better. I feel that more involvement between clubs and national teams if the players are going there should be allowed. So I know still there's a few international teams that don't allow certain club doctors to follow players. That should be allowed if the clubs so choose at their own expense. I think it just needs to be managed better. And at the moment, it just seems to be all over the place.
Right. Do you think until the whole thing is organised better, competitions like the Next Generation Football, the Under-19 competition, should replace international fixtures at least at the youth level?
No. I mean, youth tournaments are great because, especially for the players that superstars who look like they're going to do very well, it helps them really prepare for the future, because if they're going to be good players, they're going to have to get used to playing international level and for club level fairly early. You look at the greatest players that we've had. I'm going to pick one out that everyone will know. Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, started very early for his international teams and played very, very early for the youth teams. And I think it set him in great pace for the future. And I think that's what we need to see.
I'm actually glad you brought up Ronaldo there, because I was thinking there's been a lot of talk about youngsters playing too much during the development stages. They're still physically developing, and often this has a big toll on their bodies, and I think later in their careers, they have injury problems, and a lot of people have been saying that at the youth level, these youngsters are playing too much, and we play like Ronaldo. He burnt it so early in his career. I'm not sure whether they can put it down to that. There's a lot of other elements there as well, but do you think maybe youth players play too much?
I think they do play too much, especially if you've got players. As you were saying before, it depends on the team that they play for. If you've got players like that play for Real Madrid and Barcelona, for an example, who play in second division as well, sometimes play at the first division, and they're playing, some of them 2 or 3 or lower international tournaments, under 21s, under 20s, under 18s, and they're performing in all these games, plus their games in the Segunda division, plus their games for club at first division. So it can be very tolling on the body. I think they should cap, at a young age, they should cap the amount of games they can play, maybe up until they're 18, 19. So they're not playing, 50 games in Segunda and first division, and another 20 on top of that at international level when they're only, 18 years old.
Absolutely. So that all comes down again to a better organisation of the calendar for international fixtures, and like you suggested, for the league fixtures as well, at a lower level. Okay, does anyone want to bring Messi as an example in this? He was largely developed by Barcelona, but Argentina will also bear the fruits of his talent.
Yeah, I do believe that Barcelona made him the player he is today. They gave him the treatments and everything to make him the player he is today. But I do believe his experiences with Argentina at the youth level helped him into the player that he is today. That experience, especially in 2005 in the Netherlands, where he bagged 6 goals, got the Golden Ball and the Golden Shoe Award, helped him as a player to become what he is today, one of the greats.
Yeah, I think, I guess to sum it up more generally, this whole topic, I think it's a bit overstated, the whole clash between the clubs and countries. As we say, just a bit better organisation can solve some of the problems. And I think, in particular, maybe just ensuring that players are 100% fit before they go. I know recently this week, Barcelona were really unhappy with Brazil, who overplayed Dani Alves, who is 100%. So I think there's got to be a line on somewhere there, and there's got to be better coordination between club doctors and internationals, because if injury is the bottom line for it, other than that, I don't think there should be much of a clash between club and country. International fixtures have always been around, and they should always continue to be a part of the game, I think.
Right, so moving on from there, in other major news, the UEFA Club Financial Control Body has withheld the prize money of 23 clubs involved in UEFA Club competitions for this season, and this is in connection with financial fair play. I'll just take the names of some big clubs. There are 23 clubs, and I'm just going to mention some of the big clubs involved in this. There is, of course, Atletico Madrid from Spain, Malaga from Spain, and Fenerbahce from Turkey, Rubin Kazan from Russia. There is also Sporting Club Portugal and CSKA Sofia from Bulgaria. Craig, do you have anything on this?
I'll give my opinion on the whole process that UEFA is setting out at the moment. Withholding money, prize money, I don't think is the smartest thing to do, considering what financial fair play is supposed to bring about. Initially, I thought originally that financial fair play was going to stop clubs from entering certain competitions and not penalise them financially, because that really just does not make any sense. If clubs are already struggling to pay for their taxes, paying for debts, paying for loans, or whatever other reason, withholding money is not going to help that situation. But stopping them from entering certain competitions in, UEFA competitions, European club competitions, will give them an incentive to bring their finances under control. because at this rate, if this is all they're going to do, then teams like PSG and Man City are not really going to care that much. They're going to just keep spending, and if they get fined for it or they don't get their prize money, I don't think they're going to care very much. That being said, looking at Atletico Madrid, their finances have been pretty poor, but under their new management, it actually has been very good. They've got a system in place to pay back their tax debt. That's all they've got at the moment, I'm pretty sure, and I think they do that once a year. And I don't think they've missed a payment, so I don't understand why they're under scrutiny at the moment. I know there's been some troubles with Falcao, but I'm pretty sure that was all still taken care of. It just doesn't make any sense to me the way they've sort of gone about it at this point in time.
I agree pretty much with most of what Craig said there. I don't think withholding financial rewards is the right way to go. And originally they did say they would stop teams from participating in tournaments, and I guess eventually that's the way to go. But for now, stopping teams like Malaga, who probably do need that money, from getting it, it's just, I'm not sure whether it's going to solve any problem.
Yeah, exactly. So that, rather than being a punishment, a sort of a punishment for the owners, it's more of a punishment for the fans of the club and the club.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, further investigation is underway on this issue. We hope to hear something more by next week. So that's all for now, but we'll be back with a lot more next week as league football returns over the weekend. Until then, join us on our Facebook page, the link is enclosed below, for regular updates on everything football. Thank you for listening, and join us again next time.